In the vast, turbulent ocean, where the boundary between sky and water flickers in the early morning mist or the fiery sun of a stormy day, the struggle for survival and conquest never ceases. The roar of the steel-hulled ship's engines, encoded in a coded roar, reverberates like a prehistoric monster stirring from its slumber, drowning out the thunderous pounding of the waves against its hull. On deck, the atmosphere is thick with tension and anticipation. The tanned, muscular men, like bronze statues, gazed intently at the sea. Signs of a historic event were emerging. The distant waters were no longer a tranquil blue. They were boiling, foaming white, a vast expanse of sea spanning kilometers shaking under the pressure of survival. The order to lower the nets was given from the command cabin, concise, steely like a battlefield command. The iron chains screeched, rubbing against the pulleys, creating sparks and a deafening noise. The reclaimed land, a treasure and the ultimate weapon of the sea conqueror, began to plunge into the water. Like an endless arm of the sea god, it stretched out, embracing a vast expanse of ocean, enveloping the fortune and sweat and tears of an entire, long sea voyage. Time seemed to fly by as the system began its operation to collect the fish. The ventilators hissed heavily, the steel cables stretched taut like guitar strings. Leaking water and vibrating violently under the pressure of hundreds of tons of fish struggling below, these weren't just fish. They wetted the silver nets of the sea, the lives and futures of countless families back on land waiting. From the depths of the ocean, a massive sum of money was about to be generated. The sunlight shining on the nets transformed the entire sea into a magnificent stage of light, where millions of fish shimmered, danced, and collided with each other, creating a rustling sound like a summer rain shower. Hundreds of tons of fish. An unimaginable number, a gift from the ocean, but also an extreme challenge for human strength and machinery. The nets were stretched taut to an unimaginable level, like a queen's crown, with thick, finger-sized nylon threads protecting them. The hydraulic crane extended its steel arm, its club-like creaking sound menacing. The bag, containing the fish chain, capable of holding several tons of fish at a time, was lowered into the gill cage. As soon as the bag was properly secured and pulled up, seawater gushed out like a small waterfall, revealing plump, fresh fish bodies wriggling wildly. The crane, at a 5/10th angle, lifted the weight to hang it suspended above the deck. Directly above the gaping hatch opening, a deafening sound erupted. The waterfall cascaded down into the hold. It was an unforgettable spectacle. A silvery rain, a vibrant torrent of water, bright and resonant. Fish swarmed in, some piled on top of others. The splashing and rubbing of the fish, the roaring of the fish pounding against the iron walls of the hold, creating a deep, resonant boom like war drums. The cold air from the ice-filled hold rose, seeking the heat of the sunlight to form hazy waves of smoke. The fish kept pouring down in ever-increasing numbers, the silvery stream showing no sign of stopping. The sailors, clutching large chunks of fish growing inside the holds, quickly scooped them up, spreading them evenly to ensure the ship wouldn't drift aimlessly. Sweat mingled with the seawater and the rhythmic flow of the fish on their faces and on their money. But on their lips were radiant smiles, and their shouts of joy drowned out the noise. The ship's hold, vast and deep, now fills up ever more with each lowering of the crane. Tons, 2 tons, 5 tons, then of the steel-hulled vessel. The riches of the ocean are now within human reach, preserved in the quiet. Cool ice to retain the salty, fresh taste of the sea until peacetime. Watching the final cascade of fish descend into the hold. The old captain gently wiped the seawater from his eyes. A look of contentment etched on his velvety face, etched with the wrinkles of years spent battling the waves and winds. They had won this voyage. The sea had not let down these brave youngsters, and the ship was preparing to turn back toward land, carrying with it the joy, prosperity, and pride of those who had conquered the ocean. The silvery rain showed no sign of stopping, and as the hold was churned up by the first tons of fish, the pace on deck didn't slow down, but grew increasingly heavy, like a fierce battle raging against the ocean's ramparts. The sound of the bicycles kicked up the load, the ship vigorously supporting a now-quality block of precious stone. The surrounding seawater squeezed from a turquoise hue to a milky white, foaming like excess water on natural waste. From the shore of the command bridge, the sailor glued his eyes to the fish finder and sonar screens, where streaks of deep red light, indicating the density of the fish school, continued to sweep back and forth, searching for the group to follow, which was truly a bottomless pit, gathering all the apes of a converging ocean current. He slammed his hand down on the deck engine to increase the hydraulic thrust, for he knew that time was money. Outside the deck, the ship's deck had transformed into a heavy-duty mechanical construction site in the middle of the ocean, where the men had no time to breathe. Their faces covered in white patches of sea salt and slightly dried fish under the scorching sun. The foreman's shouts were muffled by the dry, screeching sound of the iron chains. Hi, a young sailor with muscles as bulging as ebony, hunched forward, his hands gripping the cable taut as a guitar string. The The wind whistling through the gaps in the nets created a soothing, relaxing sound for the aquatic creatures seeking refuge. Each time a larger fish entered the side of the ship, it kicked up a towering white foam, powerfully protecting the vessel and propelling it outwards. Following the hydraulic rocking of the ship's hull in the center of the deck, it acted like a guardian deity, its massive size and strength flashing with pain. And then, the second and third nets were lifted into the air. At had truly the inferno of labor, where the sub-zero cold of tons of crushed ice was insufficient to quell the stifling heat emanating from the bodies of hundreds of struggling fish in their final moments. The continuous cascades of fish created immense pressure. The sound of their tails hitting the stainless steel bulkheads of the hold like an armored train speeding across an iron bridge. The concentrated cold from the air conditioning system. The silhouettes of the sailors below the fish hold resembled warriors fighting in a surreal, dreamlike state. They used wide scraps of aluminum alloy, continuously scooping and pushing the plump, ice-stained perch and other fish into hidden corners of the hold. Between the layers of fish was a layer of white ice, sprayed from a high-pressure pipe to ensure the fish meat froze instantly, preserving a bit of the ocean's original sweetness for later. The space inside the ship's hold became cramped and stuffy. The pungent smell of the sea, the strong fishy odor, mixed with the smell of engine oil and the stench of human body odor, creating a smell of survival, of wealth bought with blood and tears. As evening approached, the sunlight gradually changed from lemon yellow to a reddish hue, like a pinkish stone, slowly sinking to the bottom of the water. Gently, the vast expanse of sea turned a deep, plum red color. On the deck, high-powered mercury lamps blazed, casting streams of snow-white light onto the gleaming, water-streaked deck teeming with fish, transforming the prolonged battle into a relentless night. Under the neon lights, hundreds of tons of fish flowed down like a shimmering silver river, surging from the depths of the ocean into the hull of the steel ship. Human strength is limited, but human passion is boundless. Hands burned, things awaited the weight of the nets and fish, yet no one left their position. For they understood that this 100-ton haul was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a reliable risk for days facing myth and distant winds. The winch's roar continued steadily into the dim night of the open sea, the ship sinking deeper and deeper into the water as its holds reached 9,900. As the night deepened, the ocean became increasingly mysterious and tranquil, but right here, on this platform of extraordinary joy and hard work, the steel-hulled ship remained a brilliant beacon, an independent island of light resounding amidst the vast waves. The surrounding space was illuminated, leaving only the brightness of the high-pressure lamps sweeping across the sea. revealing tiny droplets of water mist dancing like miniature galaxies. The salty smell of the sea. The sound of the chains changed, no longer a dry, harsh screeching, but a deep, heavy rumble bearing the immense pressure of the bottom of the net where the largest, strongest fish of the entire school were concentrated. The clusters of silver floats, which had previously bobbed on the water's surface, were now pulled down several meters by the force of countless tons of fish dragging them along, only to spring back to the surface, splashing white water into the air. Immediately below deck, figures darted about in the soft, flickering light of the lamps. The thick, fish-like coating on the deck transformed the steel floor into a slippery surface. A single misstep could lead to a catastrophic accident in the deep water. Yet, the feet of the bathers seemed to possess some strange, uncanny power. Their toes slipped into their protective boots, their bodies lowered to coordinate with the rhythm of the ship's hull. The swing arm, using a steel extension technique, produced a group of fish extending from the water's surface. This time, it wasn't just mackerel and small tuna, but also large ocean sandfish. Their bodies slender, like silver swords, their fins brilliantly illuminated by the high-powered lights. We thrashed about wildly, the powerful hull pounding against the ship's hull like a power hammer, creating harsh, abrupt sounds that echoed across the night sky. In the storage cellar, the silver waterfall was stirred up once again. When the key to the bottom of the net bag was released, thousands upon thousands of fish bodies plunged down like a snowflake of pure silver. The sound of the cellar descending was no longer echoing, as it was now 3/4 full. The sound had become a deep, heavy, and continuous murmur. Below, the third cold of the direct freezing system was fighting another battle against the hottest mass of biologically active fish. The salty, icy mist rose in thick fog, carried by the hurried breaths of the miners. They could no longer see each other's faces through the cold mist. Only the powerful, gleaming shovels and pickaxes continuously scooping up the ice were visible, their arms rising and falling with the rhythmic movements of biological pistons. Each layer of fish was immediately covered with a layer of crushed ice like snow, locking in its freshness and preserving the essence of the vast ocean. Seen from above, the ship had now lowered its hull, its sides sinking deep into the sea, and the drains on its sides continuously spewed out streams of water mixed with pale pink fish blood, which were immediately dispelled by the waves. This was the most dangerous moment, when the ship had reached its full load, and the changing conditions slowed it down in the face of turbulent waves. But it was at this very moment that the true nature of the seafarers was most clearly defined.
Here. fish.
The dawn of a new day began to break on the distant horizon, casting a purple hue that then deepened into a warm, rosy yellow glow on the sailors' fish-filled uniforms.
Get it like a bowl.
As the final system was cleaned, and the last of the fish descended into the hold, the thick, half-hand thick steel vault was lowered by a hydraulic system,
Tipping over.
tightly sealing the contents and locking the treasure securely within the ship's hold.
Crap. It's like they can't get them all in at once.
The men, relaxed and letting go of the cables, sat down on the deck, their bodies glistening like silver. These drug addicts, stimulated by their work, blazed red fires in the twilight of dawn, their smoke mingling with the sea breeze, carrying with it their last vestiges of weariness and boundless joy. Ayadov Tim, the steel-hulled ship, began to turn, its bow breaking the waves, heading straight towards land.
Like pouring, coffee out of a mug, a little bit at a time. The water's turning white from them, spinning around.